Good afternoon, YouTube. Been away for a couple of days, as you can see, sorted my little mop that I had out on top of my head, and also managed to pull my left shoulder out of its socket yet again. So that's been a great time. But I want to do a little update on a video that I did the other day about the WBA mandating Carl Froch and Andre Ward to obviously negotiate a fight by the end of April, I believe. Now, the other day, by the start of April, I think, not the end of April. But the other day, I kind of said that, I didn't really see this fight taking place, but if it did, I think it'll go to purse bids, because I don't think the two camps of Andre Ward and Carl Froch are ever going to agree. And if it goes to purse bids, it's going to be bought by, someone stateside, and the guarantee that Andre Ward will get his own way, and the fight will be in California in front of his man and his dog. Because let's be honest, Andre Ward's not exactly a big draw, even in his own state or his own town. And, it'll be exactly how it was before, really. But, listening to the comments, I was quite surprised when Carl Froch jumped on the bandwagon and said, yeah, come on, let's get him over here to England. Let's see what Andre Ward is like out of his natural comfort zone. And I thought, okay. Didn't really expect Froch to be making those kind of comments. I thought it would still be focused on the situation with, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Gennady Golovkin, although they were only ever kind of startup rumours made by Golovkin's promoter at K2. Now, it's a tricky one, because then Ward comes back and he says, oh, you remember my name? Oh, that was quite funny. Yeah, so like Froch remembers my name. Good to know the old man is still alive and kicking or something like that. And Froch has no control on all this kind of shit. Blah 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 blah. Now, what made me laugh, right, is Ward says, "Oh, you remember my name? You could have had this fight years ago." Hold on a minute, Andre. Let's just go back in time a little bit. After the Super 6 final in 2011, you went on to fight Chad Dawson in your hometown at your own weight division with your belts on the line. Everything went your way because you are a typical diva, right? And you struggled to sell out your hometown venue with two of America's finest fighters on action in a fight that was not only, for your super middleweight titles, but it was all about pound for pound ranking as well, let's be honest. After that fight, you got injured. You spent months out with a shoulder injury. So that takes us up to 2013 when you got fit again. 2013 came and you attended the Carl Froch versus Mikhail Kessler rematch at the London O2 Arena. I was there. I didn't sit far away from you, so I know you was definitely there. And I even heard your interview ringside and some of your commentary, so I know 110% you was there. And I know exactly the comments you made that night. And I know what happened on from there, which pretty much makes all your comments make you like a hypocrite, really. Because what you said that night in London was you made this ridiculous demand that a rematch could happen in England as long as it was at Wembley Stadium, and you kind of hinted that you were deserving of most of the pot. Now, let's just get one thing clear here. Right? Andre Ward is clearly the more talented fighter, all-round fighter, technically better, faster. Had a much better amateur record, of course, and is still undefeated, of course, right? But you're not the draw, Andre. You're not the draw. Like I've just said, you struggled to sell out your hometown against two American fighters who were big at the time. Then you got Carl Froch on the other side of Atlantic, who sells out pretty much all the tickets that goes on sale for his fights within an hour. And that's including Wembley Stadium for the first 60,000 tickets allocation, right? Just because you're the best super middleweight in the world doesn't make you the pot holder, doesn't make you the draw, doesn't make you the one the fans want to see, right? The one the fans want to see in super middleweight right now, out of Andre Ward or Carl Froch, if you ask every boxing fan, who would you rather prefer fight? Only ever a boxing purist is going to say Andre Ward. But from an entertaining value, we all know what Carl Froch is capable of. The majority of that survey, if you did one, would say Carl Froch. Right? So, that was a ridiculous statement back in 2013. But, from then on, contact was made between Eddie Hearn and Dan Goosen about a possible Carl Froch Andre Ward rematch. That fight, from my understanding, if anyone's got proof that proves me wrong, then please tell me, right? But from my understanding, that fight fell through simply because of the ridiculous demands made. And then when that kind of talks fizzled out the way, the IBF get involved and make George Groves mandatory for Carl Froch's IBF title. Carl Froch has to go and fight George Groves. You went and fought Edwin Rodriguez. Right? I'm not sure he was even a mandatory, but he was a high contender. It might have been a mandatory. I can't really remember. Right? After that fight takes place, you then get another bullshit injury to the shoulder, promotional issues, which keeps you out of fighting all the way through till now. What is it? 4th of March 2015. And Andre Ward Rodriguez, was that October 2013, November 2013. So that's almost a year and a half of inactivity. And you claim Carl Froch could have had this rematch years ago. Where? Where in that time frame, apart from the talks after Kessler, Froch 2, where in that time frame could that fight have happened? Because you spent Andre Ward spent the majority of 2014 saying, people are avoiding me, people are avoiding me, people are avoiding me. Well, that's bullshit. You was in a contractual dispute with your promoter. Of course people aren't going to want to fight you. They're going to touch you like the plague, are they? If you've got a contract dispute with your promoter, why is anyone else going to get involved in that bullshit? There's other people to fight, And besides which, I've already mentioned this before, but was it July, August last year, where Kessler, it got announced that Mikkel Kessler was in talks with a rematch in Denmark, and it looked all set to go through, and it fell through on Andre Ward's side again. And I think part of the reason Andre Ward was so unhappy with his promotional team is because he couldn't get in the big fights. Well, whose stupid fault is that? You want to be a diva and make stupid, unrealistic demands to get a fight happening, you ain't going to get the fight. Carl Froch is called arrogant by a lot of people. Right? And to a certain extent, you've got to agree with that comment because Carl Froch is a very arrogant man. He's a fighter. Most fighters are arrogant. But Andre Ward is like the biggest hypocrite, diva, arrogant, stuck-up fighter on the planet. And the stupid thing is I'm a fan of Andre Ward, but every time he opens his mouth, I just lose more respect for him. I really do. Because, he says Carl Froch talks shit and goes back on himself all the time. But look at your own comments, Andre Ward. Just look at your own interviews over the past couple of years. And look how, you make yourself look so stupid when you do these interviews and then you come out and make comments like you have done over the last couple of days. Remembers my name. He was only having a chat a year and 3 quarters ago after the Kessler rematch. And at that time, you were stunned there on camera on a national, an interview that went international, saying, yeah, this fight can happen at Wembley Stadium. Are you fucking mad? Like I've said this before. No one in England is going to pay ridiculous amount of money to go watch an Andre Ward at Wembley. Well, people pay it, but not enough. Right? People work hard for their money. They want to see a fight between two warriors. Froch versus Kessler was a good fight, 2 warriors. Froch versus Groves was a good fight, 2 different styles, 2 different generations. Groves ain't got a great chin and he tires out. Groves can hit hard though and give Froch problems. It's entertaining. Then you got Andre Ward, a guy who could really, as Carl Froch kind of says, could put a glass eye to sleep. The majority of the time, the way he fights, because he's a boxing purist. Right? It's not a bad thing. I'm not criticising Andre Ward for that. He's a very, very good technical fighter. Probably, like I've said before, if he was active and Floyd Mayweather wasn't, he'd probably pound for pound number 1 on my list. It is going to go to purse bids, isn't it? There's no way a Rock Nation and Matchroom Sport would make a deal for this fight to happen. Froch has already said earlier this week he's not relinquishing his title because he's already done that with the IBF. So we all know what's going to happen. It's quite simple. It's exactly like I said the other day in my first video. This fight is going to go to purse bids. It's going to be picked up by someone stateside. It's not going to be pay-per-view. It's going to struggle to sell out the arena. It'll be on HBO or Showtime. I'm not sure which one Rock Nation's got a contract with for their fighters to be on. do apologise, I don't know that. Right? And then, like I said to you before, it's going to be a flat atmosphere because Andre Ward really hasn't got a massive fan base, you know, or it's just going to be. It's going to be a repeat of the first fight, but we just kind of hope that if it does going to happen, that Froch can take full advantage. We know Froch is good in rematches. You know, we know Froch knows how to get through Ward's guard, especially later in the fight because it was proven in the first fight. Okay, we know Ward's ring rusty, and we know Ward's had injury problems. Okay, so there's hope there for Carl Froch, even if it does happen, you know, from California. Right, but at the same time, a fight like that, it shouldn't be stateside. Andre Ward, get out of your comfort zone. Stop being a diva and do the realistic thing. Because it is true what Carl Froch has said this week, and that is, you cannot be classed as a true champion unless you go out of your comfort zone, unless you travel overseas. Yeah, something you failed to do in the Super 6 tournament, Andre Ward. The only fighter that failed to do in the Super 6 tournament. And why was that? Because you kicked and screamed and spat your dummy out, threw your toys out of the pram and got your own way. And you're going to do it with this again. Alright? And it's stupid. And like I said before as well, the WBA, this is still suspicious timing from the WBA as well. This is still very suspicious timing. If Andre Ward was available last year, yeah, why not make it last year after the George Groves fight? After the Carl Froch George Groves 2, right? When the IBF clearly stated that their mandatory wasn't due until January, the WBA could have mandated Carl Froch Andre Ward at that point in May to take place by October, November last year. They didn't. They waited until now. The timing's off. The summit stinks. We know what's going to happen, right? But you know, unless Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Sport can get the money together and make an absolute ridiculous offer to Andre Ward to game over here, which I just do not see happening. So it looks like this fight may be happening. It's going to go to purse bids, and we'll see what happens then. Peace.